All right, another warm day here in Florida. Working on blades for Combat Con coming up, and a couple other blades that I've been wanting to do. And it's a mess back here too. So chunks of wall that we ripped out of the house and materials getting ready for the new shop. So there's a lot going on. But I do have some material. Oh, there we go. Some materials to quickly do some cutting stands. So I wanted to do a quick little vlog on cutting stands and what we're going to do here. I have I just basically grabbed some scraps. So I was able to find enough scraps, and you can just get these if you wanted to actually buy material. You could go to Lowe's or Home Depot, but I have enough for a poplar stand. So I'm gonna do like a nicer stand out of poplar that I might, do an oil finish on and make it look really nice. And then I have I found enough material to do a pressure treated stand as well that can stay outdoors. Although I'm probably going to use both outdoors, but this is what I got. So one poplar stand and then one pressure treated. But yeah, let's get started. Like my little makeshift table here. Measure twice, cut once, right? Or is it the other way around? So I'm making these at 32 inches. I reached out to Phil and I was curious what his stands were. And they're 32 inches. I think I'm used to cutting on a 30-inch stand, but I think the 2 inches isn't too big of a deal. Plus, I might actually add feet to the stands later, so I can actually change the height if I need to. But yeah, we'll start at 32. I can always shorten it. I can't add, well, I was gonna say I can't add length to it, but I guess that's not really true, is it? I can. So yeah, let's get these cut. I could, and I probably should, use the bandsaw to cut one straight, nice, clean cut. I don't feel like pulling it out of the garage right now. It's piled under some stuff. So circular saw it is for now. It won't be as clean in terms of I have to cut twice because of the thickness of the bar, but I can clean it up on the grinder afterwards, hopefully. All right, that's pretty good. Quick cleanup. So yeah, pretty nice and flat, ready to go. Chickens and ducks decided to join me. So, I noticed on the poplar one, so I haven't smoothed it out yet, but I always wondered if this was one solid chunk of poplar or not. Sorry, my face is new there. And it's definitely not. Look at all those rods, square rods of poplar they glued together, and then they skim it in like a 1/10 inch or 1/8 inch sheet of poplar. I mean, it looks pretty good. It looks like a solid piece, but it's definitely not. So that's going to be interesting to work with, especially when I drill it, because there's like a 1/8 inch slot of glue. So hopefully that'll all be okay. We'll see. So the legs I'm doing a little different. Right now I have 1x6. That's going to make the stand pretty light and easy to knock over. A lot of stands use actually 2x or even 4x4s for their feet to get a lot of weight down low. It makes it harder to knock over. However, I will say, if your stand's easy to knock over, it's a good teaching lesson to learn how to not knock it over with cutting better. So I'm just going to cut these up really quick, get them on the stand just so I can get something quick, but odds are I'll probably change them out at some point. So let's get cutting. First, I actually got to finish my sketches. So because I'm conserving wood here, I'm going to do my diagonal cuts first and then the straight one. I'm only going to do this on the poplar one at first, because if they don't work out, I'm not going to go through, waste some pressure treated if I don't need to. Although I should have started with pressure treated, right? It's a lot cheaper material. So here's a quick mock-up of, I just put everything on there. It's not screwed in yet, but yeah, I think that'll work. So when you screw the feet in, you want it on a nice flat surface to make sure that whole thing's flat. This concrete is definitely not flat. And I'm just looking all over this place trying to find a flat area, and we don't have one. So It's as close as it's gonna get. Again, the feet are temporary, so those might change later. So let's screw them in and see how it feels. So for this, the screws I'm using are the self-tapping, self-drilling exterior screws. What are these called? I forgot. The one screw at Lowe's. These are really nice. I use these for so much, I mean, especially on the farm, all sorts of stuff around here. But yeah, these are great. Temporary solution. Don't need to worry about drilling holes right now. When I do the more permanent feet later, that'll be a bit different. We got one stand. Seems pretty sturdy. One thing I forgot to mention about the wider feet is usually you'll want a wider foot, because when you go to spike the tatami, you want to be able to step on something, step on the stand to stabilize it, and then spike it. With these, you can't do that. So another reason why, again, eventually they'll get changed. But onto that, we got our stand. Now it's time to do something that's a little different. So what makes these, or what makes what I'm doing here a little bit different than normal? So normally you have a 7/8 or a 1-inch spike. I'm doing 7/8, so you drill a 7/8 hole, and that's where your spike goes. Poplar dowel rod spike, and that's it. However, what's the biggest? One of the biggest problems we run into at tournaments and in class a long time ago is when that peg gets ultimately, so because someone's going to do it, either cut, the peg gets cut or gets broken, because of the wet and the water of the tatami, it ends up swelling the wood and then the peg gets stuck. So what I do a little differently, and again, I got this trick from Sensei Mike Famal a while ago, is we're going to drill a larger hole than needed. So I'm going to do a 1-inch hole instead of 7/8, and then I'm going to drill in from the side and then have a set bolt that you can tighten and untighten. So there's a couple ways to do this. One is you can use like a eye bolt and tap directly into the wood. My problem with this is that, again, same thing, when the water gets clogged in there, which it will ultimately, then the water is also going to make this hard to move as well. So instead of using one of these, what I end up doing is, if you go to McMaster, they have all sorts of flange nuts. Well, I don't know if I can get it off here at the moment but basically this nut here is on a 3/8, so I'm going to drill a 1/2-inch hole that this nut slides into, and then I screw it into the wood. So that way when I use my eye bolt here to tighten the pin in, the screw is always metal on metal. So it doesn't matter how much water gets in there, it's not going to freeze this up. And stainless, make sure you're getting stainless, because if you don't get stainless, it's going to rust on you eventually. I actually had a different nut picked out from McMaster Car, but it wasn't available in stainless, so I had to go with this guy, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it should work, it should do the job. All right, last thing too, is because your hole's a little bit bigger, you're going to have a little bit of a gap in there, water is going to be getting in there. You also want to make sure to drill a drain hole so the water doesn't just sit in the stand. It has a place to drain out. And it has to be large enough that tatami stuff is going to clog it up. So yeah, let's get to drilling all the holes, and this should be ready here in a few minutes. So there is one positive to this poplar stack, is it automatically marks the center for me without me having to do it. So that's kind of nice. All right, now the 1/2-inch hole in the side. My hole is about 4 inches deep, so I'll make sure I can pin it. So for the drain hole, it's going to measure to the bottom of the hole there, mark it on the same side where my screw's going, because when you tighten the rod in, it's going to tighten to the opposite side, and the water is going to drain on the side that the hole is. So see, I measure there, and then just drill at a slightly, well, I'm going in an upward angle, but it would drain out at a downward angle, and that's it. All the holes are done, so let's see how it goes. So the nut plate, if I can get it, just slides into that 1/2-inch hole I did. And then I'm going to use the same screws, but smaller, that I use on the legs up here. Self-tapping, so it makes it easier. So there we have it. So now got the drain hole down below, so any water, anything that collects in that hole, drain right out. It's also easy to clear out. I use 3/8 for the drain hole. You don't have to. 1/4 inch is usually what I see the Armory guys do, but the 3/8. This part, again, McMaster car, stainless steel. These were called adhesive nuts, if I remember right, because it's designed to use an adhesive if you need to. But they also give you the holes for the screws too. So, but yeah, now that it's in there, oh, let me go get a spike. That would help, wouldn't it? All right, we got our spike. So one thing to remember, there's a little duck over there. Can you see him? I don't know if you can see him. Is obviously you don't want to hit your set screw with your blade, right? So when whoever's cutting, the set screw part would actually be in the back, so they'd be on the other side of this, so they wouldn't actually see this. Also, the screw I'm using is quite long because it's what I had. You don't need to use anything that long. So yeah, I get your spike. So yeah, set it in there, hand tighten it. You want to be able to do it without tools, and then voila, spike set. When somebody hits the spike or breaks it, unloosen, pull the spike out. It'll never get stuck because it's a 7/8 spike. My ducks, you can probably hear them. But it's a 7/8 spike. Oh, here they come. All our ducks are in a row. Come on, guys. Keep going. I'm trying to video here. 7/8 spike though in a 1-inch hole. So no matter how much tatami you cut, it's never gonna get stuck. It really solves that problem. It's very common having to wrench these things out once they get stuck. So real simple solution. The parts, the eye bolt, the stainless parts are the most expensive. I think the nut plate and the bolt are probably 10 to 20 bucks a piece, if that. Actually, the bolt's cheaper than that. The bolt's probably like 8 bucks. But the nut plate, I think, is like, I don't remember now, but on McMaster car, it's less than 20 bucks. So it's, you know, a $30 solution, I think is super helpful. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully I'll be doing some cutting with this pretty soon. I almost forgot. Shelby got us a Sterling Armory brand. So I'm gonna add some heat to this guy, press it on, and brand, put our logo right on the stand. So it'll be pretty cool. Let's try it. All right, here it goes. Probably a little too much. There we go. Perfect. That's pretty sweet. All right, now ready to seal her up, probably with some Danish oil, and then good to go. Last look at the stand. So is this something you'd be interested in doing? Let me know, comment below, and if this is posted on Facebook as well, you know, comment below. Let us know if this is something that you plan on adopting for your stands as well.